focus, pondering my next move. Staring at my track list, hope I ain't missing my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own. Tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers, and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues. Guess if you ain't at the table, you on the menu. And I'm that spitter, baby. They don't want you to see, but everybody's out to Capitol Hill's rocking with me. Boys smoke the trays and ponder getting their life together. I'm comfortable with my role, so I'm like, whatever. Me? I ain't got a job, but I work hard. And you don't work hard, but you got a job. The irony is I'm judged while you feel the applause. I'm slept on, that's why I had to set this alarm. My dudes is armed, I'm armed with this arm charm. Body banging like she got that cream from Barry Bonds. Yeah.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
That trade season is here, a real hitter with a mic, I'm everything that they fear. With that, hood ain't the same, I was all on their ass, I'm level-headed. So yo, my dudes love when I spaz, and I'm so over Seattle's passive-aggressive attitude. They don't call you back, what they really saying is F you. While I'm from the same place, I move at a different pace. I prefer if you just said it to my face, damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Average dudes with they average spit, writing average rhymes, knocking average shit. The closer I get, I can feel the people starting to shift. I'm loyal to a fault, and everybody can't come with. Rap's a rich man's game, I'm only playing with change. They bang models and singers, I'm knocking my old flame, I'm different. The crowd, I move with the chosen few. Black thoughts, I could be the front man for the roots. No diamonds and gold, I'm on my sticks and stones. If we can see your panty line, you should have on a thong. My team is strong, through this fire we forged a bond. And they already know what it is when I get on. To the hearse, party like it's December 31st. When I'm on my deathbed, I probably cracking my nurse. You ain't got the bars to compete. I'm a verbal athlete, deflating these boys so they say that I cheat. Damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Yeah. I should probably start by apologizing for the long wait, man. You know, I know I be tripping. But I'm not just a rapper, I'm an artist. And, you know, my creative process is a little bit different than most. Nonetheless, I want to welcome everybody out to the Dre's Experience. I got TCF in the building. My whole camp's here with me. I got the band in here laying this cool-ass vibe. And I'm Seattle's own. Let's get into it.
Welcome, everybody, to the Morning Update Show. I'm your co-host, Trey Holiday. And, of course, it's a Thursday, which means it's Friday Eve over here for us. And, you know, it actually is Friday for my co-host with the most, Big O. What up, Big O?
Yeah, this is my Friday right here. If you can't tell, I'm smiling and everything. I'm ready to go make the most of it, my friend.
I know that's right. Hey, you know, it's always, every time we get to Thursday, we're like, it's been a week. So good for you.
Yeah, no. And so, you know, you're always showing off your sweatshirts. I thought I would show off mine here today.
Yeah.
You know, our CD Panther sweatshirt here. You know what I'm saying? Representing our CD Panthers.
I could have been twinning with you today if you just would have called me, let me know. You know what I'm saying? I got my Panther shirt, you know what I'm saying, representing for my son, Johnny out there.
All right, good stuff. Good show lined up for you today. You know what I'm saying? We're actually gonna be talking to Julia Jessie, tapping in from Washington, D.C. You know, the voting rights bill went up in flames last night. I mean, you know, they knew what was gonna happen, and a bit of it was, you know, it was for the cameras, as they do in Washington, D.C., and they voted on it, and we had the expected outcome. But we'll talk to Julia Jessie about that, and also going to be talking to Julia about what we can expect on Clapback Culture tonight. You know, yesterday, Mike Davis was talking about that synthetic baby. So,
oh, my gosh.
We want to see what Julia's thinking about that. We got a rewind with Besa this Thursday. That means it's time for the rewind with Besa. So we got that coming up. And then also we want to talk about a little bit about his Thursday, Throwback Thursday, Mr. Fitzgerald Beaver. Mr. Beaver passed away 30 years ago. He would have turned 100 on the 18th of a few days ago. And what a legacy the Facts newspaper and Mr. Beaver leave behind. So we definitely want to touch on that.
Looking forward to it as always, my friend.
All right, let's get ready to rumble. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Morning Update Show. I want to remind you that right now is the perfect time for you to tag and share the stream. Go ahead and tag and share the stream with people you feel would appreciate culturally relevant news and information emanating from right here in the Emerald City. Want to give a big shout out to our partners over at the South Seattle Emerald and also KBCS 91.3 over at Bellevue College. Want to remind everybody that you can listen to the Morning Update Show anywhere that you listen to your favorite podcasts, or SoundCloud, Google, Spotify, iTunes. All you have to do is search Converge Media Network. Got a link we're going to put in the comments right here, coming over from Public Health, Seattle, King County. If you need to get vaccinated, if you need a booster shot, if you're looking for testing, or if you're vaccine hesitant and you got some questions, you go ahead and click that link right there and get more information. And actually, we got a new PSA we're adding today. Besa was in the studio the other day.
Yeah, I mean, this is information we need to get out there in our community. I think, we're seeing a lot of people that are being affected either by COVID or a variant of COVID. And really the Omicron variant is very similar to common cold. So sometimes you think, oh, I just got the sniffles, I just got a little sore throat. And then you go get tested and you're like, what? That's COVID too? So it's interesting to see how these variants are coming about. So information is key right now.
Yeah, and COVID attacks different people different ways. The same person, you might get a cold, somebody else might be hospitalized. So definitely want to stay on top of that. As usual, right now, reminded everybody, I'm gonna keep bringing this up because yesterday we got $1,000 donation from Jebediah Gardner over at Gardner Global. Go ahead and put this up right here. For culture. Are you a cultural producer that was impacted by the pandemic? For Culture has grants from $1,000 to $12,000 that are available. So I'm gonna put the link over there in the comments. Man, cultural producers, they need to get on it.
Well, it's so funny because we've been literally talking about this for a couple of weeks, and it wasn't until the other day that it's like, oh wait, all of us up in here, we actually qualify as cultural producers. And I thought, wait a minute, I wasn't even thinking about that because we're so on the money all the time, thinking about it from a media perspective and just wanting to share the information. But yeah, even us too, man. You know what I mean? We may need to look into that. Oh, individually, Salman, Jake, everybody up in here, we actually qualify for it as well.
Yeah. So if you are a cultural producer or any cultural producers, $1,000 to $12,000 is out there. For Culture is being very intentional about wanting to connect with you. And so we'll stay on top of that. Looks like I got a handcrafted motion graphic right here. There it is. Julia Jessie, host of Clapback Culture. Salman, go ahead and bring in Julia. Hi, Julia.
Hey, guys. Happy Friday Eve. How are you?
Doing good.
Yay,
good. Welcome.
You looking great, girl.
Oh, thank you, honey. I heard you talking about that cultural producer grant. I need to tap in too.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is only for this Washington and not that Washington.
Oh, well.
And, by the way, how are you? It's been 1 week since we last talked. A lot's happened last week. And before we jump into everything, by the way, Clapback is clapping, man.
Yeah. You already know we're getting it in over there on Thursday nights.
No, it's the production on it is really picking up. Big shout out to you and to Mike Davis and to Curtis Cuddy Delgado II, who's the director for Clapback. All right, so we wanted to talk to you about a few things. We actually had some other stuff on the list for today, but then after we saw how everything played out in Washington, D.C. last night, and you're there in D.C. and you work in government there, we thought this would be a good conversation to have with you. The first thing, though, I wanted to put up, we want to hop back to Monday because on Monday, people were pretty optimistic that maybe something would happen. Here's a video of you on Monday on a march across the Frederick Douglass Bridge there in Washington, D.C.
Good morning. Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. This is Jules Jessie with Clapback Culture. I am currently walking over the Frederick Douglass Memorial Bridge, commemorating the legacy of Dr. King, but also for voting rights. And I know last week we talked a lot about what the Senate had planned in terms of this voting rights bill. and it's important. We need to be able to pass that Freedom to Vote Act, and it takes people to be out here and to advocate and to get out in the freezing cold weather and walk. And so we walk in the footsteps of our ancestors for things like this. And I'm just so proud to be in the nation's capital, to be able to continue to serve my community and serve the people, because we've always had to fight for our rights. And so it doesn't stop now. The mission continues.
All right, Julia. So before we talk about what happened in the Senate last night, what was that like, that march there across the Frederick Douglass Bridge, and especially the important issues that were on the line?
Yeah, so Monday was commemorating Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And it's super important for us to continue to recognize that each and every year and embed that into our daily lives. But this year, what made the march important was that we were marching for voting rights. And, it was powerful. And there was, again, a lot of turnout of different individuals coming to really spread awareness, coming to spread that message, and really committed to a day in service. And so it's important for us to be advocates for things that we want and push our elected officials to do what we say, because those are the promises that they gave us when we elected them into office. And so it was cold, blistering cold at that, Amari, but just wonderful to be in the presence of people who are standing up for voting rights.
And I got to say, I just loved that you made that video. Thank you so much for bringing us into your experience there, walking with all of those people around you. See, this to me is what it means to really be in community. And talk to us a little bit about how that community, we talk about it all the time here. I know I do, always mentioning Black community here. How was it there, Jules, in terms of shaping Black community and folks having that kind of, even coming together, even when you may not agree, but it still creates a collective voice when you come together like that?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think I'm pretty lucky to live in the community that I live in. I live in Ward 8. There's 8 wards here in the District of Columbia that make up the District of Columbia. And I would say that my ward is probably the most heavily influenced with culture and Black culture. And so we're all about speaking truth to power and galvanizing and really putting in action to community. And so I'm a part of a lot of community-based organizations. I stay involved with my advisory neighborhood commissioners to understand what's going on, even just in my neighborhood, what's going on my block. So it's important to, be a part of these things. They're around. It's easy to tap into, especially now that we have, this digital age where we can tap in on Zoom. We can, stream on Facebook Live. So it's so much easier for us to participate. And, I say that all the time. When we talk about voting, it's not just about going there and, checking off something on that ballot, but it's super important to continue to be a part of the legislative process and understand what's going on. So, DC is like a lot of other major organizations or a lot of other major cities, in that there are a lot of people that are really invested into the full process.
Yeah, and you bring up something interesting where people need to be looking beyond just checking the box, because what we're seeing right now across America is people are trying to find ways for you not to be able to check the box. Well,
Yeah.
For some people, that's always been the case. Now, we got a clip right here. So guys were out there in Washington, D.C. Julia was there. People all across America were really making noise this Martin Luther King Day around the issue of voting rights and the voting rights bill and everything else. Man, it was forecasted to fail. And, man, the Democrats got whooped up on yesterday. We got a clip right here from CBS Mornings.
Major setback for Democrats on Capitol Hill. What would have been their landmark voting rights bill failed 52-48 in the Senate last night, with 2 Democrats joining all 50 Republicans in opposing a rules change to push it through. The vote came after hours of passionate speeches from both sides of the aisle. And in a statement, President Biden reacted saying, quote, he is profoundly disappointed that the United States Senate has failed to stand up for our democracy, close quote. Scott McFarland was inside the chamber, and he joins us now. Scott, this is a stinging defeat for Democrats. Good morning.
Hey, Tony, good morning. Supporters said this voting rights law would have made it easier to vote and stop suppression at the ballot box. Critics said it was a power grab to rewrite the rule books. But in the end, it was Senate Democrats here at the Capitol who couldn't wrangle enough votes to make it law.
On this vote, the yeas are 52, the nays are 48.
President Biden's landmark voting legislation failed in the Senate late Wednesday night.
This is a moral moment in America.
After nearly 12 hours of heated debate over changing filibuster rules to get the bill through.
They would shatter the soul of the Senate for short-term power.
This is an unprecedented, coordinated attack to make voting harder for eligible citizens.
Facing a wall of unanimous Republican opposition, Democrats were dealt back-to-back losses without being able to change Senate procedures, eliminate the filibuster, and pass sweeping voting rights law. One of the holdouts, West Virginia's Joe Manchin.
Eliminating the filibuster would be the easy way out. It wasn't meant to be easy.
The proposed voting legislation would have allowed for early voting and no excuse mail-in voting nationwide, and it would have made Election Day a federal holiday. Two of the Senate's 3 black members clashed over accusations that any opposition was an attempt to deny minorities the vote.
I felt frustration and irritation rising in my souls as I keep hearing the references to Jim Crow. I ask myself how many Americans understand what Jim Crow was.
Don't lecture me about Jim Crow. I know this is not 1965. That's what makes me so outraged. It's 2022, and they're blatantly removing more polling places from the counties where Black and Latinos are overrepresented.
Members of the Congressional Black Caucus took a last-minute stand outside the Senate, but walked away knowing the voting rights law was set to fail.
Joe Manchin, that pivotal senator from West Virginia, said yesterday he's open to changing the Electoral College Count Act, the law by which Congress counts the electoral votes after a presidential election. That was the process interrupted by the Capitol attack January 6th. But the outlook for that is cloudy. Democrats have been emphatic they want much bigger change. Gail?
All right, cloudy, normally never a good thing. Thank you very much, Scott.
I mean, this right here, come on, Jules, this is what we're talking about. The fact that this is really where our country is after all of these years of, you know, people standing on the front lines, fighting for voting equality and equity in voting. This right here, to me, is a huge setback, but also the fact that there was even this bill to go in front of the Senate showcases that there is a need for this. I don't know. How are you feeling about this, Jules? This is really outrageous to me that they weren't able to get this through, but also the fact that a lot of people figured they wouldn't be able to get it through. That's just really where we're at.
Child, it be your own people, don't it? It be your own people that turn against you at the hour that you really need them. So, I mean, I didn't expect this to pass. I also feel like we didn't do enough to kind of galvanize people beforehand. And, you know, this was just a last ditch effort, the Hail Mary to kind of change the rules. And so, you know, you really think about it, like, is a chamber rule more important than voting rights? And I would say absolutely not. And so it's important for us to take note that this is exactly what elected officials think about our right to vote. And so when they're talking about all these promises and get out there and vote, you know, it's going to be extremely hard. And, you know, the 2020 election brought out so many millions of people. I think it's 76 million people got out and vote. It was the most people that ever voted. And so now they're trying to scale back people's right to vote. And so I just don't get it. I don't understand it.
I was just going to say that, like, you know, here in Seattle and in Martin Luther King County, it's easy for us to live in a bubble, you know, and even a lot of state of Washington, we've had all mail-in voting for a long time. Voting elections here are very smooth. You know, there's the King County elections, very proactive and everything else. And it's difficult sometimes for us here to realize what's going on in the rest of the country. Even the rest of our state over in Eastern Washington, there's quite a few counties over there that the government's looking at, because they're trying to redistrict county commissioner lines away from, like, Hispanic population and everything else. So, I mean, even in our own state, these things are occurring. But I think that we need to keep in mind that it's never been a fair voting process in America from from day one. Before you even talk about Black folks and people of color and women, man, even poor white folks couldn't vote. You know what I'm saying? Like, from jump, like when they set everything up, they were like, nah, bruv. You know what I'm saying? You don't own no land. You ain't got it popping. You ain't voting. And then that's why, like, a lot of these systems were set up, because if it was really one man, one vote for president, then, like, guys just get voted out. You know what I'm saying? And that's why you have, electoral college and all these other things. And I don't think that we should be surprised at all when you think about the history of this country. There's been constant voter suppression one way or another. This is a throwback, though, because voter suppression was alive and well on the books for a long time. It was like the law, right? Black, you can't vote. Women, you can't vote. The law was changed, and then it was intimidation. Then you got the Klan showing up over there at the polling station. You got your boss over there at the polling station kind of letting you know, if you go over there and vote, you're going to get fired. You got people blowing up churches, you know what I'm saying, cross-burned. So you went through a whole intimidation phase. And now it's just back to just blatant legislative phase.
No, and let me just say this too. They never wanted all of us to vote. That's what he's really pointing to. But to me, therein lies the problem, right? It starts at the very beginning, the inception. When we talk about the systems that have been put in place in this country to keep oppression alive and well, voting has been one of those major systems. And the idea is that even those of us who are, wanting change, see ourselves as progressive in a way of, like, we just don't want these antiquated systems to continue, because we understand them now, and we understand the systems are working perfectly fine the way that they were designed to keep us from voting, to keep a popular vote from actually happening. And you're right. Here in Martin Luther King County, I can say we got it all. We really are leading the nation with regard to the way that our voting is set up. And I do think that it would behoove other cities that are really looking to be like, no, we care about our citizens and we want to hear from them, that they utilize these same tools. But Jules and you guys are right. I mean, this is something that a lot of folks just knew wasn't going to pass. And that, to me, is another just standpoint around how messed up we really are in this country.
I mean, they knew it wasn't going to pass, right? Because the two Democratic senators were very, very vocal in the fact that they were not willing to change the rules of the filibuster, and that they basically considered it to be a compromise, and they did not want to end it. They didn't want to change the rules because they really, see it as a negotiation tactic. And I think what we're seeing now is that the filibuster is being used to weaponize. It is a way to challenge our system. And so we've seen during the Trump administration them go nuclear, right? And Republicans have been able to pass things through breaking the filibuster by, saying we only need this 50 vote instead of the 60 vote. So again, the people who are on the floor in the chamber, a lot of them have never had their right to vote being threatened. And so they just don't know how it feels,
I mean, let's be clear, though. The filibuster has been used time and time again, disproportionately to block civil rights. I believe one of the longest filibusters ever is Strom Thurmond. You know what I'm saying? Against the Civil Rights Act. He just kept talking. I mean, this is it's happened time and again. And the thing is, though, is what's happening in America is in plain sight. Like I said, this isn't somebody intimidating at a poll, or this isn't a cross burning, or this isn't your employer basically telling you if you vote, you won't have a job. Man, this is in broad daylight and it's happening in real time. And you see all across America right now, people are being removed from roles. I mean, there's one county, I watched something last night, one county in Alabama, they're removing 5 polling stations across the county and trying to consolidate into one. And of course, it's in the areas that most impact Black people. You know, if down in Texas, where Prairie View A&M is, they moved the box that was always over there by the college campus, because that box directly impacts like the mayor, county commissioner, you know what I'm saying, things like that. They moved the box 30 miles from the campus. You know what I'm saying? Where a college student's going to go 30 miles to go and vote. I mean, and when you think about things, they're making it very much harder. Why wouldn't it? You know, this is this thing, and everybody was shucking and jiving and celebrating Juneteenth holiday. Nah, man, I would pass on a Juneteenth holiday for a national voting holiday any day.
Any day,
you know what
of
I'm
the
saying?
week.
Like
Any day of the week.
100%. And what's happening here is the erosion of democracy in America in broad daylight. Because you know what? The system, here's the thing is like Governor DeSantis down in Florida, all these governors and a lot of these Secretary of State said, hey, our system worked perfectly. You know what I'm saying? There was minimal or no fraud in here. The vote is free and fair and everything else. But at the same time, investing millions to change voting laws. So how you gonna say that your elections were free, fair, accurate, and then invest millions in the change? I see you got something to say.
No, I'm just saying, come on, this is exactly what I'm talking about. We have so many freaking examples of why this is about voter suppression, why this is a continuation of oppression. We have so many examples. You guys are sitting here talking about some of the examples right now. And if we look through history, we can pull up so many hundreds and thousands more. At the end of the day, this is why when we talk about, moving progress forward, thinking about equity for all people, really allowing the Constitution and the Bill of Rights to apply to all citizens, all human beings, there we have all of these other systems that really are keeping that from being the case and keeping that from being the truth. And this is you're right, Jules, when you said it be your own people sometimes that are like, oh wait, but what would we do without it? Man, we won't know what we would do without the filibuster until we get rid of the filibuster. Like at the end of the day, some of this is bold change that is necessary right now. And here we are again, rolling through the sludge.
And the point is, why do we have to get rid of the filibuster to pass something for voting rights? I mean, this alone is the cornerstone to democracy, is the right to vote. So I guess I'm just really confused why we even had to go this direction to begin with, because the right to vote is something that we absolutely need. We should be modernizing it and figuring out a way for people to have an easy way to vote. And we saw that in the 2020 election. And it just baffles me that in 2022, here we are.
I think another thing too is that the Democrats, not even just in Washington, D.C., but just on the street level, on the ground level, man, I don't know where these guys is at. See, like with the Republicans, so here's what the Republicans do, right? Every time the Republicans lose or they feel like, they're at a loss or something like that, they come up with a grand strategy, usually from the grassroots all the way up, right? To be able to ensure like their supremacy. And so what you see across America is a lot of people who believe in this big lie, man, they're getting elected, whether it's dog catcher, school board, whether it's county council, city council, auditor, superintendent of public instruction, everything else. So on all the city, the county, and the state level across America, they're putting their people in. And while the Democrats is just kind of like, I don't know what the Democrats are doing, but the Republicans definitely have a strategy. We saw this after the outrage of this black man being elected to the presidency when Barack Obama, and this whole Tea Party grassroots movement, they put their people in place. They always got a strategy. And a big part of this, by the way, is, let's be clear, is that the face of America is changing.
Yes.
And that scares a lot of white people. Right? It scares a lot of white people that they're quick to say, well, this is my country. Well, this is my country too.
Man, this is exactly why I say non-white people are the global majority. We have to be real about these numbers and the data. The ideas that this country is predominantly, held by, white Americans, that actually is a anomaly. That is not true when you start to really look at data. So I just got to say that that's exactly why when we talk about the global majority, we have a lot of people coming in, a lot of new cultures, a lot of energy and culture and different ideology that really help to make this country what it is. And until we as a country can really pay homage to all of that cultural vibrancy and those additions that have really made America be a beacon for so many different people around the world, then we're at a loss at the end of the day. And so this, you're right. Oh, there's a lot of people that are kind of shaking in their boots a little bit because they realize, wait a minute, if people really feel empowered to vote, then that means that my status quo lifestyle, all the things that I've been accustomed to in terms of maybe white privilege and white supremacy running everything, is now going to be challenged.
Well, I'll just say this, I'll throw it over to Julia, is that that's exactly what did happen, right? In this last election here, Biden won the Electoral College, won the popular vote by over 3 million votes, and people are seeing it. And so, like, if mathematically what just happened here is they had a massive get out the vote act. This was, coming down to 3 million votes on the popular vote, that's a fairly close, you know what I'm saying, considering the total number of people that voted. They had a massive get out the vote effort and still lost by 3 million votes and lost in the Electoral College. That sent all kinds of red flags. You see what I'm saying? Through over there. And while at the same time, you've got more and more people, maybe on the Democratic side, that are entering into the system. Look how many new people are coming and voting and everything else. What are your thoughts, Troy?
Well, I just think we're just facing a time right now where, we have to continue to do more, and I agree with you that on the local level, there's just nothing we can't, there should be nothing that should stop us from getting out and voting. But I think another thing that, we got to think about is that a lot of people that were pushed to vote in this first election, a lot of people who voted for the first time, some of them that, we know Mike Davis was really vocal about not wanting to vote. I mean, this is going to be a time that how do we get them to participate once again to feel like their vote mattered? And so I think that's going to be the uphill battle.
Yeah. And the struggle continues. And I would say to our primary viewership here in Seattle, Pacific Northwest, in King County, man, what we see here is very much not representative to a lot of the rest of America, and where it is a full out assault on people's right to vote, their access to vote, and everything else. So, what I'm saying, we're going to stay on top of this and see where it goes. You did mention your colleague Mike Davis, so we'll shift gears here into a lighter note. Clapback culture tonight. We had Mike Davis here yesterday, and he was talking about what you're going to be talking about. One of the topics tonight, he talked about this thing called CRISPR, and so I want to play here what Mike talked about, and then we want your opinion.
Out the gate tomorrow night, we're talking about CRISPR. That's CRISPR. I know a lot of people hadn't heard of it. It came up last week. We're following up. CRISPR is a way that scientists have developed to edit genetic code. It sounds wild. It sounds like science fiction, but I promise you it's really real. There's a scientist in China. He did the first live birth. He took 2 baby girls and he edited their genetic code to be resistant to the HIV strain. And that, in a nutshell, sounds cool. But, CRISPR will also allow scientists to decide things like gender, eye color, height. They can look for traits for ability to play musical instruments, ability to do math, all of this by rewriting your genetic code. And in most countries, they're like, nah, we're not going to do this on humans. In China, they have. So who knows what they're going to do next? Is it going to be super soldiers? It could be anything. We're going to take this a lot of wild places. We also got, and I see all smiling, 207. Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, Mike Davis, you seem like the type, though, that might be up for that.
Oh, I'm 100% up for that. Man, look, we got these synthetic babies. You're telling me that I can have this 6'10", beautiful trumpet playing mathematician, chess wizard? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Come on, man. This guy said yes.
Are you still there? Can you hear us, Julia?
Yes, I am still here, and I absolutely disagree with Mike.
I was about to say, I know Salman said that you had to run, but we just want to throw that out to you. So no synthetic baby for you?
No, thank you. I don't want no Frankenstein baby. I will take my baby the way that it comes with my genetic makeup. This is the thing. I told Mike when we talked about it last week a little bit. I feel like that's cheating. Like you cannot, create your own baby. It doesn't make it special. And so I would like to be able to birth with my own genetic pool, another Barack Obama to send out into the world. So I'm not going to cheat and go with CRISPR.
Thank you for that, calm opinion on this, because I promise you, I looked at and I'm thinking, how did you know Mike would be up for that? Because I'm like, a lot of people I know are just like, oh no, I don't want nothing to do with all that extra stuff and gene messing around with. Nah, they tell that's playing God. That's what we used to grow up with, right? In our community. It was playing God, man. Nobody's down for that.
All right, Julia, we know we got to cut you loose. We'll see you tonight at 7:00. You and Mike Davis from the South Seattle Emerald. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thanks, Jules.
Thanks for having me. Happy Friday Eve, y'all.
Yeah, you too.
Bye-bye.
Oh my gosh. I'm glad that she has, I can deal with that kind of opinion. I'm telling you right now, I was shocked to hear Mike Davis say, yeah, I want a 6 foot tall baby with I'm like, oh
Come
no.
on, man.
So this is going to be interesting tonight on Clapback.
Mike from the turf, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking for every advantage possible. But yeah, it's gonna be an interesting conversation because that brings up a lot of different things. You know what I'm saying? I mean, listen, I'll be honest with you, right? I spent a short stint in research and development around technology and stuff like that, a mobile phone and technology, everything else. By the time the general public's talking about this, my friend, these people are already amongst us.
Oh, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? By the time it actually already reaches us, I mean, for example, some of the very first computers were actually touch screen, right? And, that they created, it was touch screen. Now, years later, you get a touch screen computer, decades later or whatever. This technology be out there, man. It's in the mix. And so now they're like, oh, it's the ethics around it, everything else, man. Believe me, man, somebody been over there coding and remixing for years.
You know what? This is exactly right. This is why I think for my conspiracy theorists out there, this is why certain things stay alive and well, because when you are, finding out information before it hits the public, oftentimes, people want to call you crazy, but you be on the money, man.
Yo, Besa Gordon's in the comments said the synthetic baby might not be that bad.
Oh, no, not you, Besa. Not you too. No.
All right. Speaking of Besa Gordon, we're going to take a quick break right now. And when we come back, we've got the rewind with Besa. Got some real interesting information coming out. And anyways, Kanye's in this as well. And so, it's always interesting when Kanye's in there. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
Hey guys, Besa Gordon here, and before heading to Belize, Trey Holiday and I had to make sure we linked up with our good friends over at Market Street Shoes to, of course, grab a few things for the trip. From bags to socks, shoes, sunglasses, earrings, and more, before going on any trip, make sure you stop at Market Street Shoes. Trust me, you'll find just what you need to make your trip not only enjoyable, but fashionable.
Hey y'all, T-Dub here, letting you know about another art funding opportunity. For Culture Recovery funding for individuals is available now, and here's what you need to know to apply. Are you a cultural producer who has been impacted by the pandemic? If you answered yes, but what is a cultural producer? Well, you are a cultural producer if your work, paid or unpaid, is dedicated to creating cultural experiences in any discipline or at any stage of your career. Some examples include exhibit designers, museums educations, archivists, restoration professionals, curators, history researchers, artists, of course, and more. And understanding that grant language can sometimes feel exclusive to specific people, using terms like cultural producer is one of the ways For Culture seeks to broaden its scope of applicants. In other words, this funding is for you. And look, the application fatigue is real. I get it, they get it. But the For Culture staff is here to walk you through it. They have grants from $1,000 to $12,000, so please don't miss out. The deadline to apply is Wednesday, February 2nd. Head to forculture.org/recovery to get information on virtual group workshops, application support, language translation, and more.
Hey guys, Besa here, and of course it is time for a quick rewind with Besa on what the heck has been going on these last few days. But first, we gotta talk about our sponsors, okay? There are a lot of plays coming to town. One of them happens to be Anastasia, which is playing at the Paramount Theater from January 25th to January 30th. We also have Beauty and the Beast, which is going to be showing at the 5th Avenue Theater from January 21st through February 6th. And then lastly, there is Romeo and Juliet. This is actually going to be played at McCall Hall from February 4th to February 13th. So make sure you grab your tickets early before they end up selling out, because you already know they will. Now in local music news, on Monday I actually went to the studio with Papa Black Da Vinci. We ended up basically doing a little song together, so I can't wait for you guys to hear that. Of course, I'll let you know when it drops. However, while I was there, he told me about a Seattle artist by the name of Toupee TK. So finally, earlier today, or shall I say yesterday, I actually took some time to look up the artist and check out his music, and it is absolutely a schmood. So of course I had to do a blog post on Q933.com to make sure that you guys were able to check out Toupee TK's latest music and his latest music videos. If you guys know of any artists that I should know about, always hit me up on social media at Besa Gordon. It might take me a second to respond, but at some point I will check it out. Now let's get into the rewind. First and foremost, the Grammys. I told you guys, I want to say last week or week before last, that the Grammys has been rescheduled. Well, it's been rescheduled to April 3rd, and for the first time it's actually going to be in Vegas. Now I'm not too sure as to why they're moving it to Vegas. My only think is that Vegas probably has looser restrictions when it comes to COVID-19. In other music news, Shinsia and Megan Thee Stallion are dropping a new song on Friday. Technically tonight at about 9 p.m. we should be able to listen to it here on the West Coast, but the song is called Lick. Now as you guys can see, I did have to put some emojis on the cover, so if you want to go see the real deal, of course you can go see it on Shinsia's page, but you know, we like to keep it a little PG around here. Either way, I'm pretty sure the song is going to be a vibe, and I definitely can't wait to check it out. Looks like Tyler Perry has a new movie coming out. And it's not just a normal movie like Daddy's Girls. This is another Madea movie. This one is called Homecoming, which is very fitting for the cover, being that that is basically the exact cover that Beyonce ended up having when she did her Netflix documentary, which was also called Homecoming. The announcement was made on Tyler Perry's Instagram with the caption saying, "Homecoming, live from her backyard. I want to thank my incredible moth hive, Marcella Netflix, coming soon." Look, like I said, I thought that Madea was killed off. The last Madea movie that I can remember was Medea's funeral, and that was because Madea was supposed to be done. So maybe this is supposed to be a documentary on Madea over the years. I don't know, but I'll definitely keep you guys posted on what this movie ends up being about. Or documentary. You never really know with Tyler Perry. Looks like Drake has a new partnership with Nike, and he has a new shoe that's supposed to be dropping on January 27th, and according to sources, these shoes are going to sell for about $150. Now, in some really good news, but not good news, I want to say about a week and a half ago, there was a huge fire in some Bronx apartments, and 17 people ended up losing their lives. Now, as you may or may not know, rapper Cardi B is actually from the Bronx, so she has decided that she will pay for the funerals of all of the victims' families, and I'm still not really sure how that fire happened, but definitely sending my condolences to anyone that knew someone that lost their life in that fire. And lastly, Kanye West, who seems to be making a recurring appearance over here on the Rewind, he had to go on Instagram and let everybody know that his daughter, Chicago West, was having a birthday party, and he almost didn't make it because he didn't have the address. According to Kanye West, Travis Scott had to give him the address. Check out this video clip.
Chicago, happy birthday. I love you. And I'm just putting this online because I need y'all support. I didn't call Kim, text the nannies. I got on the phone with Tristan. He said, he asked Chloe, won't nobody give me the address to my daughter's birthday party right now? And that's going to imprint in her mind that I wasn't there for her. You get what I'm saying? Like, I was supposed to be in Miami recording my album. My whole schedule is all based around me being able to take my kids to school, me being there for them, making sure that I'm in their life. That's the whole point of having money. They take so many fathers just throughout America. They've been taking the fathers out the homes purposely. So I'm speaking up. I'm using my voice to say, this ain't gonna keep happening. This narrative is not finna happen. It's a lot of people that's not in a position where they ain't got no voice when people be playing games like this. Baby mamas be playing games. The grandmama be playing games like this. And it's like, as y'all know, they ain't finna play like that with me.
I don't know if Kim just didn't want him there. I don't know if she purposely didn't give him the address. I don't know if they are just not having communication due to them getting a divorce. But what I do know is that he seemed to be able to go have a good time. Like he said, Kylie let him in, so it didn't seem like there was too much of a problem. So I'm going to keep my thoughts to myself on this one because I honestly don't know really what the heck was going on. I feel like we need a little bit more information, and knowing Kanye, he'll probably go on Twitter at some point and let us know. Either way, that is it for this week's Rewind with Besa. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Of course, if there's ever anything that you want me to talk about, always hit me up on social media at Besa Gordon. And of course, until I get back next week, keep it on Cute 93.3 weekdays, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
All right, Besa right there. The Rewind with Besa. Yeah. So a few things. One, Besa is getting more and more local artists here. You know what I'm saying? It's a big platform, that iHeart platform. iHeart's the biggest entertainment company in America. So, you know what I'm saying? Being able to put more local artists on there is really dope. But Kanye, you know, is real interesting. You look like you got something really juicy to say over there.
No. You know what it is that I don't really scroll a lot, but I came across this Kanye clip and I thought, this is kind of crazy because this is something that in my inner circles I've talked about a lot. The system is really set up for mothers. It just is. And fathers sometimes have a hard time trying to navigate this system. And as a mother myself, you know, no longer with my son's father, I always have this real soft spot for wanting to make sure that, hey, the door is open as much as possible. So for Kanye, somebody, like he said, he got money. This is what it's about. The fact that there was 1.38 million people that viewed that clip, I'm just like, you know what? I mean, maybe it takes him to try to put his information out there. I'm glad that he did actually make it to the birthday party. I didn't know that part, so that was great. I'm glad Besa included that. But this is something that I think a lot of fathers deal with in our country.
Well, one, it's digital, so it'll be there forever. You know, regardless, it's even if he takes it off his page, it's like it's out there. But I think that one of the things that we probably got to look at, Kanye and a lot of other people have to look at, is like, yeah, especially if you're coming from divorce, right? That, you know, especially if their divorces, when it gets finalized, there's parenting plan and everything else, man, a lot of times kids just get two parties. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, mom has her party with the kids, dad has his party. Now they got this kind of, their relationship is like, man, who knows? Like, he live across the street and some everything else. I agree with Besa. Besa was saying that, like, it's we don't really know enough.
Yeah.
They probably never will about their whole situation, but like that ends up usually being the reality behind it. You know what I'm saying? And there's that phase, especially when people are first getting a divorce, where you're trying to have a sense of normalcy for the kids. And it's like, okay, here's a birthday party and maybe both parents are there and everything else. Then over time, you see that it's like, okay, well, hey, I'm going to have kids, their party's going to be over here. You're going to have the kids' party's going to be over there.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, there's a lot of different nuances that occur in relationships, divorce, separations, all of that. And so we don't know what all the circumstances were that led to this. But, again, when it comes down to the child knowing that, hey, my dad cared enough to be able to show up, find a way to show up, however it is, we didn't hear any reports about like huge fight or anything, right, happening. So maybe it all went well. And, one other thing that Besa really mentioned there that I think also goes back to kind of the ways that you can wield your celebrityism, maybe for good, is Cardi B and that story of her,
sure.
being willing to pay for the funerals of all the victims there in the Bronx fire due to the space heater. This is really, to me, I always say, when celebrities can step up like that, particularly for the communities that they come from, that's really wielding their celebrityism in the best ways.
Them was poor people in that building in the Bronx. You know what I'm saying? That was low income housing. We might say in Seattle, affordable housing, because of the fire space heater. I mean, the building was in disrepair and everything else. So yeah, it really is good to see Cardi B just kind of step up and be like, man, I got this. Let me take care of this. Man, good stuff, Besa Gordon.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
And looking good too. I'm loving her setup over there.
Besa over there glowing, got the home studio popping and everything else. You can catch that Rewind with Besa probably about an hour or less. It'll be across all of our social platforms. So it will be good to share. I like that. I like seeing Besa every week. We're going to take a quick break right now. When we come back, we're going to be talking about Feel Good Friday. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
Hey guys, Besa Gordon here with some much needed information about what's happening in our communities when it comes to COVID-19 in 2022. Omicron is actually the latest COVID-19 variant and honestly is hitting our local communities and hospitals pretty hard. You can help out by 1, making sure you are vaccinated, 2, making sure you have your booster, and 3, simply masking up. As we learn more about COVID-19, we're also learning more about how the vaccine works best. A booster shot 2 to 5 months after your COVID-19 vaccine significantly improves protection against COVID and its many variants. If you need a COVID-19 vaccine or a booster, there are free options for transportation and childcare that are available. To learn more about all of your options and where you can get your booster shot, go to kingcounty.gov/COVID/vaccine.
Hey y'all, T-Dub here, letting you know about another art funding opportunity. For culture recovery funding for individuals is available now, and here's what you need to know to apply. Are you a cultural producer who has been impacted by the pandemic? If you answered yes, but what is a cultural producer? Well, you are a cultural producer if your work, paid or unpaid, is dedicated to creating cultural experiences in any discipline or at any stage of your career. Some examples include exhibit designers, museums educations, archivists, restoration professionals, curators, history researchers, artists, of course, and more. In understanding that grant language can sometimes feel exclusive to specific people, using terms like cultural producer is one of the ways For Culture seeks to broaden its scope of applicants. In other words, this funding is for you. And look, the application fatigue is real. I get it, they get it. But the For Culture staff is here to walk you through it. They have grants from $1,000 to $12,000, so please don't miss out. The deadline to apply is Wednesday, February 2nd. Head to forculture.org/recovery to get information on virtual group workshops, application support, language translation, and more.
We invite you to be our guest at Disney's Beauty and the Beast. It's a tale as old as time in a brand new production by the Fifth Avenue Theater. Return to the magic of live theater with one of the most enchanting musicals of all time. Disney's Beauty and the Beast at the Fifth, January 12th to February 6th. Tickets at fifthavenue.org.
All right, welcome back to the morning update show. Lots of events going on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You and Besa get to go to all of them. You be at the ballet, you be at Broadway Across America, you be at Fifth Avenue Theater. Like,
let me tell you, it is a beautiful sight because it reminds me so much of, growing up as a theater kid, a thespian myself, and honestly have always been amazed and inspired by the costumes, the set design, the crew, the way they move through sets. Seeing some of these actual live performances, let me tell you, they are blowing my mind. Like Mean Girls, for instance, had like a full digital set. And, I went with my assistant, Erica. Shout out to you, Erica, for coming with me. And we were both sitting there. And Erica, too, is also a theater, kid themselves. And so we were sitting there and it was like, wait a minute, the stage is kind of blank. We're wondering what they're going to do. In every scene, it was like they had a few props and the way they digitized the background, it was so spot on. It was amazing. So, and then you got your big old sets like Jesus Christ Superstar, where they were able to utilize kind of one main set. Oh my gosh. And then, they did it again for My Fair Lady. They had these major sets that were coming in and out. So I just love the whole scope of live performances, live theater, dance shows. All of it takes so much work, man. Kudos to everybody who's working on that.
Who you going to Romeo and Juliet with?
I'd be going by myself, right? Like I'm probably gonna take my grandma or something. Yeah.
You gonna take Granny to Romeo and Juliet?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a Romeo, so that's what it is.
Anyways, let's talk about Feel Good Friday. It looks like you got a very big lineup for tomorrow. Last week's Feel Good Friday was like, man, it was really feeling good. And let's put these up here. First, we've got G Prez Aspie. I think we got that clip as well. He got a bus and all kinds of stuff going on. It's always a lot of energy whenever G Prez is on the set.
Always. And I can't wait to dive in with him. And honestly, the last Friday that he was here, he was like, come on, man, let me show you how I'm doing when I'm whipping in the kitchen. He got his own little series. So I can't wait to catch up with him, figure out how he's thinking about utilizing this bus. I know G Prez always has a plan. So I can't wait to dive into it. I'm glad that he'll be here tomorrow with his feel good energy. He always brings it to the set.
All right. And then you also have the art queen of Converge. I'm talking about Takia T-Dub Ward.
Me and T-Dub, man, we're going to make sure that we come to the set nice and colorful. I know one of her hashtags is look good, feel good. And so I'm so glad that T-Dub will be here tomorrow again, diving into not only, the first episode of Art of the Matter, but also she's been out there on the art scene. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, I think she has some updates as what's happening in the mix. You've got some teachers in the building. The first one, Catrice Dennis.
Yeah. There she is, Catrice Dennis. Oh my gosh, she has been so integral in my life in the last couple of years, particularly for my son, Johnny, who frequents the set oftentimes, but has never been on camera. So he's over it. But, we're going to have their class here. They have a small class. So I can't wait to dive into her pedagogy and how she's being intentional to bring something different when we talk about closing that educational gap. So really looking forward to having her on.
All right. And she's joined by her colleague, Miss V.
Yeah, Miss V is also going to be there. Miss V has joined Miss Catrice last year, teaching the students Spanish. So my son is really getting interdisciplinary environment with teaching with love and care. I can't wait to have them on tomorrow.
All right, good stuff. Sounds like it's going to be a good Feel Good Friday. I'll be off.
How did I know you were going to say that?
I'll be off, my friend, for real. Before we get out of here, it looks like we got 2 minutes left. Any last words?
Man, it's always been inspiring for me to be here in the studio. But I got to say, this week, it's always one of those things where, when I was listening to Jebediah speak yesterday, just about his intentionality, about his pursuance of, his goals, his dreams, I've been doing some work myself on goals and dreams. And I got to say, for all of you out there that have something in your heads, one thing I learned last night was that it takes desire and it takes passion to push through. If you don't have really a strong desire, you don't have the energy you need to push through to see your goals to fruition. So I just encourage you out there to stay firm in your desire. Allow it to be a driving force, the fire behind your wings to continue to press on. And for those of you who have yet to see yourself as a part of the solution, allow your desire to guide you into opportunities that will allow you to see yourself as a part of the solution. Man, desire is key.
Fire and desire. I'm desiring this day off.
There you go.
I'm gonna take full. Tomorrow. So I'm not taking the whole day out. Tomorrow, I haven't forgot about this, by the way, but tomorrow gives me an opportunity to really follow up. Man, all the city government, the city officials, they've gone quiet, over this OPA closed case summary. And, it's a bombshell that came out last week that the OPA never checked with the EOC and putting their case together. Is that the chief of police contacted her own department, and while her own department was preparing for the Proud Boys, they never told the chief of police. We got a city council member who's trying to figure out what's going on, and the city council member, is told that there's nothing going on. And the thing is, and it's really amazing here too, how quiet the rest of the media has been on this. Like OPA, let's see what comes out of it. But like they took a major hit to their credibility, and a lot of people watching are saying like, well, they never had any. But they've taken a major hit to their credibility, and also, questions have to really be answered. If I'm Chief Diaz, I want to know, like, when I'm calling my colleagues, are they really telling me what's happening? Are they telling me the truth? Because apparently that's not what happened there. If I'm Lisa Herbold, I want to know, as a city council member, are we going to be alerted if the city is on alert about something? You know what I'm saying? And the police accountability ecosystem, like this report is incomplete, but there's really no mechanism to continue an investigation. So I'll probably be spending my time tomorrow on that. We want to get to the bottom of it. That being said, everybody, man, it's been a great week here on the Morning Update Show. Make sure you check out Trey tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. for Feel Good Friday. And tune in tonight for Clap Back Culture. It's going to be a great show. We know where everybody stands about the synthetic babies, but we'll see where that goes. On that note, I want to remind you, go forward in your purpose, go forward in your humanity. Until tomorrow at 11 a.m. Peace.
What do I see through a lens of fear? 1,000 little steps to go. What do I fear after all these years? Lord knows I don't even know. I've been running on the edge of a sundial, sleeping in the shadow. I've been begging you to see me, then hiding beyond the unreachable. Looking out left on a right-hand turn, just trying to make a deal. A lazy shoes and love is a love that turn. That's the kind of food that heals. I've been searching for the end of an era, waiting to be ready. The world is bigger than a moment. Be steady, that's how you can feel it's real. But I feel naked. I got I know no one is a shadow. 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 No one is a shadow. But I feel naked in my new clothes, 'cause I got used to